So I'm
Right.
glad you brought that up, right? To let young people that may not know what their options are, that may not know what they want to do. Like, how did the military help you just kind of discover what you want to do? You already got into it a little bit as far as the
Right.
benefits and the options, but you know, I'm trying to tell kids don't be scared to consider the military.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me just backtrack just a bit because one of your first questions, you asked me what I did. And I
Yeah.
told you I talked around everything, but I didn't actually tell you what I was doing. So I actually ended up with a job in the medical field. Actually, I ended up working in the dental area, which
Okay.
was a total surprise to me because when I went into basic training, basically I had a like a flight line maintenance scheduler type job, which is
Okay.
that's what I was gonna do, and that's what I was prepared for. So there's gonna be some flight line work working out there. And when I got to basic training, maybe 2 to 3 weeks in to basic, after talking to my instructor, he was asking me, what are you gonna be doing? And I told him my job, and he basically told me, he said, "Is that what you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I came in open, and I'm open to really anything." He asked me, I'm going to ask you again, is that really what you wanted to do?
Right.
And I said, well, I didn't really think long term into it, and so he's like, here's what I want you to do. I want you, and he was a brother, probably 5 foot nothing, man, short little, yeah, but really
Right.
aggressive, really intimidating. But he pulled me aside almost as a mentor, and he said, hey, I'm going to send you to talk to Sergeant so and so, whoever it was at the time, and I wanted you to sit down with him. And I want you to go through a lot of these other jobs and kind of rack and stack and see if we can get you qualified for something else before it's too late, right? So he was looking out for me, and I listened to what he told me, and I went down to see the master sergeant that he told me to go see, and he basically told me to say rack and stack the jobs that you want, and that they already had my ASVAB scores, that they knew what I qualified for and all of that stuff. So I started naming a lot of the things that they told me that I couldn't do because those jobs were full. So I was hard headed. I was like, well, I'm gonna put them down anyway and try it again. Who knows, right? All they can
Right.
say is no. So that's what ended up happening. I ended up putting down, and I knew I wanted a medical job because I didn't know if the military was going to be right for me initially, right? I didn't know I didn't know I was going to do 20 years in the military. I thought, hey, worst case, I'll do 4 years with this contract, get out, use the GI Bill for school and move on to something else.
Right.
Well, again, like I said, they uh, so long story short, I put a lot of different medical jobs that I wanted. I think I had like firefighter. I had actually had civil engineering. I had a CE. I actually put that down as well.
Okay.
And I needed one more job slot to fill. And that's when I was just looking over everything, and I saw dental on there, and I was like, "This is silly, but why not? Right? It's close to medical." So I put that dead last, and that's the job they ended up giving me. Right? So
Right.
it was a little bit of a shock because I was like, well, I don't know if I have the stomach for this, to be honest with you right now. I'm looking at people's mouths, but it ended up being first duty assignment over in at Lake and RAF Lake and Heath, which is over in England.
Okay.
Actually turned out being not a bad job, man. They actually I wasn't in patient care for very long. They kind of moved me into a lot of specialty things and coding and handling insurance and things like that. And so I was bouncing around a lot, and I didn't really have a specific job within that field. And I was there for 3 years, and ended up coming to Patrick Air Force Base down in Florida, getting stationed out here. And when I got to that clinic, they said, well, we don't have all those different specialties or anything. So you're probably most likely going to be doing admin, logistics, which is ordering supplies, making sure, working on the financial plan, for the specific clinic, managing that.
Right.
And you'll be doing a little bit of insurance related stuff also. So I kind of dabbled in all of that. I kind of rotated through all those things. When I got bored of one, I jumped into something else, within the same field. And then I started doing a few other things for the wing, the base itself, other jobs like on the wing inspection team. Started branching out a little bit more, and
Yeah.
I met a lot of interesting people, like I said, along the way, and made some really lifetime friendships. So, in regards to what I would tell the young guys listening regarding the military, it's probably one of the few jobs where you will get that gratification and that feeling like you belong to something one of the fewer jobs out there that still gives you um, that good feeling of being able to say, "Hey, I'm a part of the 1% of people that actually served, right, to serve that country." Um, and there's so many opportunities. Everybody goes through, basic training in the beginning, which is more of a mental uh, thing than anything. It's not really physical. It is a little physical, but not enough that nobody can't handle it, right? But the mental side of it, they give you these silly jobs in the beginning that you would think are really silly, like put these shoes in a direct line, clean this chrome. And the thing is, they're doing all of that. It seems silly at the moment, but they're giving you these simple problems to solve to see if you can handle those. Because if you can't handle those little small things, then why would they trust you with something much bigger? Especially if you're going to be deployed somewhere. So it's a lot of it is mental, but once you make it through that, it's a really really gratifying experience. To be honest, man, no matter what you're doing in the service,
Okay.
and again, it's one of the few jobs that I said that allows you to retire at a specific time. The few things have changed since I retired as of a few years ago. Most of the new guys that come in now, they're going to be looking at something called a blended retirement, which is more of like a 401k, and they kind of match whatever you put in there in the beginning. So I was kind of grandfathered into the old system, so I didn't have to worry about that. But regardless, I highly recommend any younger guys thinking about it, just do it, just go for it. You're gonna get the discipline. You're gonna meet and network with people that may have some life changing things to provide, opening doors and stuff up for you. So it's like I said, I got friends I met in 2002 at my first base that we're in group chats to this day. So
Right.
it's long term. You build great relationships and you build a lot of confidence and discipline and stuff along the way. And the benefits are great. Free
Okay.
medical, free medical care, which is we know how expensive medical care can be. And if you don't know
Yes,
how
sir.
expensive it is, yeah, just look it up, man. It could be hundreds of dollars a month. So
Right.
the benefits are definitely there, and I highly recommend anybody thinking about it to definitely ask questions. I'll be here if they want to ask me to.
Okay.
Anytime they can reach out to me. Once they have my information, and I'll
Okay.
answer any questions they may have about military related stuff. So
Okay. We'll have your information scrolling, Ray, once we get to the editing portion. So we definitely appreciate that. You brought up
absolutely.
you brought up a couple of things. First, audience, look at Ray's teeth. All right, he got the most perfect teeth he had
No,
on the show so far. All right, so
I don't.
he definitely was using his fringe benefits while he was in the military.
Right. You got to
But
do what
you,
you got to do sometimes. Take advantage, right? Of saying, I'm saying I'm
yeah,
here,
man.
right?
You brought up
I
another
appreciate
point
that.
too, because so Ray, I was born in 1979. I think you were too, right? So
Same, yes, sir. In
boys and
March.
girls, if you're watching, Commissioner Scott is still working and building a company. Mr. Ray Simmons is retired and kind of doing what he wants to do, right? Which
Right.
we'll talk about that a little today. But think about it. I got another friend that I grew up with in the projects, right? Corey Alabridge, man. If you watching, what's good, man? Brothers from another mother, right? Back in 1986, man, we used to go and get our Knight Rider big wheels, man. I don't know if you had one of those,
Oh
Ray.
yeah, I did. I had one.
The kid, right?
Yeah.
Had the little brake on the side.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll be getting it down the sidewalk, in our Knight Rider big wheels. But as we grew up, we went into the military. I work in the civil service now, did the engineering thing. But it's good to see that we were both successful in different careers. He's traveled all over the world. Ray, you mentioned how you traveled a lot too, man. And that's another fringe benefit of the military, being able to expand your network and visit and travel different places, man. Where are some cool places you've been to since you've been in the military or not at work, man?
Sure. So a few of the places, Saudi Arabia in itself was pretty awesome. If
Okay.
if I got, and it's an area where a lot of the traditional uh, a lot of the traditional wearing the hijab and other things. It's really heavy there, but again, Saudi Arabia was amazing. Dubai, I've been to Dubai for a short. I'd say it was actually my layover from Saudi Arabia. So it was about an 18-hour layover that I planned
Oh,
because I had
wow.
a lot of things I wanted to do when I got
Right.
there. So, but so yeah, Dubai. I've been to Scotland. While I was over there, I traveled quite a bit. Paris, France. Um, wow, I've been to. I'm thinking overseas because there's a lot of other stateside spots that I went to as well, just TDY. But overseas, where else? I went to say Scotland, England, Germany.
Okay.
Short stay in Germany, and wow, man, I'm trying to think over a 20 year span.
Right.
It's quite a
Well,
few places.
you mentioned a couple of spots that I know I want to check. I've been to Germany before, but
Hmm.
France, haven't gotten over there yet. But young people,
Right.
if you're watching, right, and you're just used to being in your own environment, on your
Hmm.
block, in your city, I want you to listen to what Mr. Simmons is saying. There's a whole big world out there. Figure out where you want to go, where you want to visit, and how you're going to get there one day, right? So, thanks for
Yeah,
sharing your.
absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say absolutely. Thank you for thank you for asking that question. But yeah, it's there's a few more places I can't think of right at the top of my head. But man, when I tell you it's amazing being from Georgia, from Warner Robins, Georgia is a little small city near Macon, Georgia. And for a while that was all I knew until I got overseas and was able to experience different cultures, seeing lots of different people coming together. And just being in the middle of that and where I was located, we're kind of centrally located where it's easy to travel. And it was really cheap to travel
Okay.
once you're over there, overseas already. But outside of that, I did just come back, from vacation. We from Tokyo, Guam, and also Hawaii. And I've been to
Okay.
Hawaii twice also. So I'll probably think of a few more places, throughout the podcast. But off the top
Awesome.
of my head, those are the ones I think. So if I'll go for it, guys, like, get out of that town, get out of that city, if you can, and see the world. There's just a new perspective that opens up for you. You start looking at things in a different light, different cultures and everything else. So I highly advise, even if it's not overseas, just travel. Get out of your city, get out of your state, and you may end up loving it.